ensuring learning relevance in a hybrid world, strategies and best practices. And to do so, I request Mr. Elton Nathan, Head L&D, TE and TM Apollo Health and Lifestyle Limited, to please come upon the stage. Mr. Elton Nathan is a certified training and development professional with expertise in HR interventions, leadership development, and strategic planning. He excels in talent acquisition, compliance, and creating engaging work environments driven by a passion for customer service excellence. A very big round of applause for him, ladies and gentlemen.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Elton. I was hoping that she didn't do that introduction, but I thought I'd meet you all personally and say hellos and share a little bit about myself when we actually talk to each other. I think that's a better way of doing it. And we are always on LinkedIn, so that's all the jargon that's there for LinkedIn. For you all, I'm just plain Elton. Been with Apollo for the past almost 4.5 years now. It's going to be 5 years this year, so I get my long service award this year. And, and yeah, I mean, when I was asked to do this program, I said, why not? And I took up the opportunity of coming here. I just landed from Calcutta, and I rushed and made it right on time. I was hoping I wasn't late, but thankfully, yeah, I mean, they're not going to sue me. Yeah. So ensuring learning relevance in a hybrid world. But to start off with, have you ever wondered what would happen if Plato, Aristotle, Socrates were given a pair of VR headsets and were told, okay, teach the audience? How would it be? Will you be able to ponder on this? Let me take you back in history. In the ancient civilizations like those of Mesopotamia, Egypt, Greece, Rome, formal education had just begun to emerge. Schools were established to teach skills such as reading, writing, arithmetic, and philosophy. The focus was on transmitting cultural knowledge and preparing individuals for specific societal roles. And this laid the whole foundation for education that actually stands today. So when we look back, there was nothing wrong with the teaching methodologies that used to exist there. In fact, it was the essential part of education that was required to set the benchmarks for today's education. But let's take another peep into another imagination. Imagine the age of Einstein. And would you be able to imagine Einstein in a Montessori school teaching, or maybe in an IB syllabus? Now, Einstein was born in Germany in 1879, and he grew up in an era where traditional education had become so strict, so predominant, that the emphasis was on complete memorization of things that were there. And it was done in strict discipline. This came right after the Industrial Revolution, as you know, and this transformed societies, economies, leading the establishment of universal public education systems in many countries. Now, according to UNESCO, over 91% of world's education are enrolled in primary education even today, a significant leap from the past century, showcasing that the impact of educational reforms over time actually has proven a great deal for us. If we look beyond 20th century and beyond, the 20th century saw this rise of new educational theories and practices involved psychology, and including behaviorism and cognitivism and constructivism, and advances in technologies such as invention of printing press, radio, television, and of course the internet. They made a profound impact on everyone. And finally, let's talk about the 21st century. In this digital age, we know what happened. Learning increasingly decentralized, and it was lifelong. Online learning platforms came into the picture, mobile apps, virtual realities, technologies offering new opportunities for flexible, personalized learning. And although there are challenges such as information overload for people, digital distractions, concerns about the quality, accessibility of online education, we learned how to adapt to this modern style of learning. And according to a report by Holden IQ, the global market for online education is projected to reach $350 billion by the year 2025, highlighting that there's a rapid growth and acceptance of digital learning platforms. In short, 21st century kids are being taught by 20th century adults in the 19th century curriculum and techniques using the 18th century calendar. This is the systematic dilemma, guys. Now, ever since the pandemic, we know what's been happening. Remote and hybrid work have increasingly become prevalent in our lives. And with the dawn of the new ways of working, organizations have to actually adapt every strategy related to culture and people, including all things that is dealt with learning and development, understanding the science of learning, and it's really imperative to do that. Now, the way we learn is very sophisticated. It's an interplay of a myriad or thousands of processes and often operating simultaneously. At its core, learning basically involves the acquisition of practice of knowledge, skills, and attitudes. And I think everyone in this room can relate to that. We always talk about it. And from a numerological perspective, this involves synaptic changes in the brain where connections between neurons become stronger with repetition and engagement. So the key was actually engagement. How engaged are we during the learning process? And according to a study published in the journal Neuroscience, active learning techniques can result in up to 60% more retained compared to passive learning methods. So there are 4 fundamental principles that underscore human learning, and that is active engagement, feedback mechanism, repetition and spaced learning, and something called as scaffolded learning. What is active engagement? Basically, passive consumption rarely leads to deep understanding. So active engagement, on the other hand, such as discussing, teaching, or even debating, reinforces the learning process. Learning is not just about consuming knowledge, it's about practicing it. When we talk about feedback mechanism, feedback is really vital in the learning loop. It helps identify gaps, reinforces what is known, and directs learners onto where exactly they need to focus. And according to a report by Deloitte, companies that implement regular employee feedback mechanisms, especially in learning, are 15% more likely better than those that are not doing this. We come to repetition and spaced learning. The spacing effect or distributed practice suggests that learning is more effective when it's spread out in portions and it's not done all at one time. And this prevents the cognitive overload on each one's brain. And people like to have their learning spaced out. And then you have scaffolding learning, which is building on the prior knowledge. People have a certain knowledge of certain things in the past, and now they want to develop that even further. Psychologists, for example, also tend to go into NLP practices, or they go into an OD intervention course, or something like that way. So it keeps enhancing what they already know, and new information basically is assimilated and is connected in their brains. Now, given the shift to remote and hybrid work methods, it's essential to align training methods with the science of learning. And how do we do that? Well, there are many ways. I'm going to take you all one at a time. The first way is to use digital engagement tools. And in this virtual environment, active participation can be fostered using tools like quizzes, gamification, polls, collaborative whiteboards, and these things facilitate active learning and make remote sessions really engaging. The next is very important, which was mentioned earlier as well, instant feedback. With the help of AI-driven platforms, learners can actually get immediate feedback on their performance, their real-time critique coupled with recommendations for improvement, and this can be invaluable. Then we have the micro-learning modules that everyone's talking about today. Instead of these long, exhaustive sessions, trainings can be broken down into bite-sized chunks or micro-modules, and this really helps the brain to capture or take in more into their cognitive process. This harnesses the principle of spaced learning as well that we mentioned earlier, and it allows the participants to engage with the content at their own particular pace that they want to. Now, this can be in form of a poster, it can be in form of a short video, it can be a bite-sized leadership talk, it can be a short learning module on your management system or anything of that sort. Let's see what Deloitte does. Deloitte, in fact, recognized the need of this flexible learning and bite-sized learning solutions to accommodate it, and they developed something called as Deloitte University Press. Now, this was an online platform, and it offered micro-learning modules on various business topics. And these modules range from a 5-minute to maybe a 15-minute short little program in length. And it covered everything from leadership skills to industry trends. Yeah, I can already see people Googling it. Yes, it's there. Employees can access the modules anytime, anywhere, allowing for personalized learning at their own pace. Deloitte's microlearning managed approach was really effective in engaging employees, and thus it also improved their knowledge retention in the long process. The next thing that we could do is real-world context, and how do we link learning to real-world context. In this remote world, in this hybrid world that we live in, linking learning materials to real world is really, really essential. Practical scenarios, for example, can be especially beneficial for everyone. This not only helps in scaffolding, like helping them to learn what they already know, but also enhances the content and makes it more relatable. It makes it more applicable to the learner in the long run. Now, what is the role of social learning? We are all social beings, right? We all like being at the coffee counter or the water counter, discuss certain things, share certain anecdotes, talk about what's in the news, and that's how we actually get it. There's a time when maybe you may not read the news in your phone or the papers, but you actually take it from this. So how does this happen now in a hybrid world? Because that's what was missing there. So there are certain things like informal settings that we need to set up in our hybrid world. It can be platforms like forums, it can be chat groups, it could be virtual meetups. This gap can be bridged, and encourage everyone to share their insights at these small little points, discuss the challenges that they're going through, narrate the experiences that they have, and let them just stimulate their brain into learning from each other, even in forums that are there online. Essential breakout rooms is one way that we can actually do it, and we've all done that. We all have been in a breakout room after COVID, and this plays a really, really vital role in learning. Now, moving forward, what is the action plan for us? The transformation of any workplace to remote or hybrid work model is definitely undeniable. It has to be done. We cannot escape it. And to harness the true potential of these models, organizations need a robust learning and development strategy tailored with all the environments that we just spoke about. Now, here are some strategies that you could follow. Maybe not all, maybe some of them, but it's definitely going to improve the remote and hybrid workplace that you have. One is you really need to audit your current programs. Before you craft any strategy, take a close look at what you have existing already. What are the learning and development programs that you have, and which ones are still going to be fitting into that remote setting? Maybe it worked really well in a classroom, but if you're going to be doing the same program in virtually, it may not work. So what are the things you need to change? What are the activities that you may need to change from an offline to an online session? Which ones need modification? And this audit will actually help you to create a foundation to actually develop all your things. I can see the time coming down. The other is use digital platforms. Traditional in-person training methods may not be feasible or effective for remote or hybrid teams. So explore digital learning platforms, webinars, virtual workshop, e-learning modules. There's a whole lot of people out there who are waiting to meet us and sell us a lot of their products. I mean, give it a shot. See what is best in the market, and then see what it is. Salesforce has something called as Trailhead platform. Is anyone from Salesforce here? All right, no one here. But Salesforce, what they do is they revolutionized the employee training with its Trailhead platform, and it offers interactive, gamified learning solutions, modules that they can earn badges with, and a lot of platforms actually do this. But they also get their certificates, and then they master their products and their skills through this platform. So it encourages active participation through hands-on challenges, quizzes, real-world scenarios, you name it, whatever we mentioned there, it's all in this one package. So it's a good thing to actually look into this whole thing. The next is to create a blend. Not all training can be done remotely or online. For some sessions, especially those requiring hands-on training or deep collaboration, consider that there are certain times that you need to meet up and you have to have these sessions. So make a very clear demarcation as to what you want to have online and what you want to have offline. This is something which we know works really well. In fact, McKinsey and company research highlights that companies with a strong culture of learning share about 35% more than their when they actually have peer-to-peer learning. And another report of LinkedIn says that 90% of companies believe that peer-to-peer learning plays a very crucial role. So Google's got this amazing peer-to-peer learning program. I'm not going to talk much about it. I heard the bell, but it's called Googler to Googler. You can Google that. Well, so Googler to Googler. All right. So this is okay. The next part is your interactive learning sessions. Yeah, this is something that I really wanted you all to see. And the retention rates of people, when there are when people are teaching each other, okay, the participative methods, there's 90% chances of these people going to be staying with you much more. And these slides can be shared with you, so I'm sure they'll be able to share this with you. You can always go through this, but these are the things that we can actually have your knowledge of retention. Personalized learning pathways recognize that every employee has a unique learning curve, and that needs to be done. I'm just going to speed up the slides. Yeah, and interactive learning, this is self-explanatory, and always encourage continuous feedback. We spoke about that as well. The final two points that I want to talk about is invest in your onboarding, and this is something that is really essential. When people come on board, it is very essential that they get this feeling of satisfaction that they are in the right company. And if you have the right tools to onboard them, you will ensure that whatever challenges that these people are coming in with, you are going to be removing those things. Stay updated with tech advancements, these kind of seminars, these conferences, news that is there. There are many conferences that happen. Keep updating yourself and see what best you can actually do with that. And finally, measure, analyze, and repeat. You should ensure that you have the systems in place to measure the effectiveness of your learning and development programs. Use metrics courses like completion rates, your feedback scores, post-training assessments. Analyze this data, identify gaps and the areas of improvement, and iterate your strategy in the right direction. So, crafting, this is my last slide, that's okay. Crafting a comprehensive learning development strategy for remote or hybrid can be daunting for all of us. But if we have a focused plan and a willingness to adapt, organizations can not just replicate the success of traditional learning methods or models, but also surpass it. We should aim at building a digital environment for all our organizations. I'm sure if we did that, even Socrates, even if he was alive or Plato was alive, he would definitely adapt. He's going to put his VR session on. So I'll just end with a 1-minute video, and that's it. And that's a takeaway video for you. that's it from me. That's my handle on LinkedIn. Please do connect. I'm always ready to share whatever I have learned. It's nothing that I've learned on my own. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are honored to have you here and would like to felicitate you. And to do so, I request Mr. Satkumar, Head of HR, PQE Group, to please come upon the stage.